one friend, Sylvia, had said something really introspective and deep, whatever. And then my one friend, Dom, goes, "We saw Michelle."
Oh,
It's
nice.
like, and I was like,
Now I really want to watch this
yeah,
movie.
I was just like, really, guys? You've seen it before. Yeah, but not that big. And I was like, oh, guys, men, you guys are a trip, but it was funny.
Welcome to episode number 13. I'm Benjamin Vomastic, and today we're joined by Michelle Mosley. Michelle plays Tina
Hello.
in our upcoming production, Hometown Summer, and she's also acted on stage and is also a professional voiceover artist. How are we doing today, Michelle?
We are doing fabulous. And I'd like to introduce you to my pimple Penny.
Oh, can't even
She,
see
I
it.
was gonna, you can't?
No, I mean we probably will once the
Oh,
episode's
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah, yeah,
rendered,
you
but yeah,
probably can.
yeah.
I just,
I mean, now
I,
that you mentioned it, now I can, yeah.
yeah, see. And if I don't draw attention to it now, I'm going to think about it the entire time and you'll be asking me a question and I'll be like, oh, and just like trying to see it. So apparently
All
I'm
right,
going
well,
through
the cat's
puberty
out of the
again.
bag.
Yeah. So okay. Puberty, fun,
Yeah, yeah, we've all done that.
clearly. Yeah, clearly. Twice, three times.
But yeah, so what got you into the creative industry?
Oh, probably ADHD.
Yeah.
Just like, just, I was an only child. I always was doing skits and whatnot in the basement. And here I'm going to age myself doing the dances within Living Color, the Fly Girl dances, doing that, pretending I was on stage and whatnot. And it's just somewhere I just always found an escape. And I diddle daddled it in a little bit. And then I think after high school is when I really started taking classes and really became obsessed with it. And I remember the first class I ever took. I was like 19 years old, and it was in Southfield. And it was a teacher. It was at school, and she was from New York, and she had taught at the New School or something like that, which I had done all the research. I knew that was a great school. I was all excited. Her name was Lynn Bright. I'll never forget her. When I moved back to Detroit from California, I looked her up immediately, and I'm like, Michelle, she's probably dead. Concept of time. I'm like, damn, she's on her own stuff. But I'll never forget. She had me doing a scene from Streetcar from Desire, a streetcar named Desire,
Yeah.
and it was a scene where she's being raped or about to be raped,
Oh, fun.
and she had paired me, yeah, good times, and she had paired me up with the very serious scene, and she had paired me up with the hottest guy I had ever seen in my 19 years of life, and I was just like, what the fuck? And he had been at my house rehearsing, and I'm just like, oh, this is acting is the shit. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember her go, Michelle, you're about to be raped. And I was like, Lynn, you can't rape the willing.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And I'm like, God, maybe comedy is more fun for me.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting into that. Yeah, so that's what took off. And then just, I started doing some dinner theater. There was a train and I was just sold. And I started dealing craps at the casino.
Oh, okay.
Because and I remember talking to one of my teachers and they were like, yeah, you go to Vegas, you make $100,000 a year.
Hmm.
And I was like, shit, I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to make my $100,000 a year and I'm going to get my ass in New York and go to school.
Yeah.
Well, they don't tell you. Yeah, you make $100,000 a year in like 4 casinos and it takes 5 years to get to those casinos to work for them.
Fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I worked and, I continued to do, my stepdad was an actor back in the day, and him and my mom lived out there as well. And so he started getting me he wasn't acting anymore. He's one of the Temptations. Well, like, there's like 25
Yeah.
Temptations.
Yeah.
So he was
One
in,
of the big performers.
he wasn't the original, one of the originals.
Yeah.
He was one of like the 6th round. And he started taking me on, uh, sets and making me audition for everything, and started making me do extra work because they filmed a lot of movies in, Vegas and stuff. And while
Right.
he was
Yeah.
performing on the strip,
Yeah.
and that kind of hooked me. He made me a little, fearless, and then I went to California and kept plugging away, and now I'm in Detroit. So I
Yeah.
was so I wouldn't say I was successful.
Well, I mean, success is relative.
Yeah, so success is relative.
Yeah. So you ended up in Vegas when you were 19, 20?
It's like 20, 21, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I was like, I remember he made me audition for everything. He made me go, I'm not a singer at
Okay.
all,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he made me, he's like, you have to go on an audition a week and that's it. And one week the only auditions they had were for the Rio. I don't know how I remember this shit. I can't remember like what I ate yesterday. I don't know how I'm remembering this. This is remarkable. Um, and it was for beverages. So you served cocktails and sang. And I'm like,
Like
well,
this was like
a
you.
real job.
Yeah,
You
real
sang.
job.
You were
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
oh, like you did drop off drinks and you're like performing
Yeah. I just
and I'm like,
stayed at
well,
Rio. Yeah.
oh, do they still have them?
I don't remember any singing, but I remember a ton of
Oh,
half naked women walking around with
oh
beverages.
yeah, and you were half naked, of course. They
Yeah.
probably got rid of it. They probably were like, it's definitely more money for us to keep them on the floor, getting people drunk and
Yeah.
gambling than having them sing. Yeah, we'll do that for something else. So I went to the audition. I'm like, all right, this is the only audition in Vegas right now is this. So let's do it. And it's like New York style, open room. Everybody can see you. I follow the fucking Whitney Houston impersonator on the strip. And I have never been so ballsy or so proud of myself in my life. So I'm like, she's singing, and I'm like, well, this is embarrassing. So I get everybody, I'm telling these people, I go, hey, when I look at you, you guys say tweet, tweet, tweet. Other people audition, they're like, what? I go, you'll know, because I'm singing Rockin' Robin. That's what I'm singing. So I get up there, I sing, and I've got the crowd going, tweet, tweet, tweet. And I get done, and they go, you're cute. Everybody's laughing, and I'm like, all right. But you know what? That honestly made me very fearless. I'm like, if I can do that,
Right on. Yeah.
I can, it's something that I'm even kind of qualified for or even have the skill set for. I could do it. And I started doing improv with Second City in Vegas. And
Okay. Yeah.
it was, yeah. And so it was, but that was the catalyst that like propelled me into like, all right, none of this is that serious. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And the Whitney Houston impersonator killed it. I was like,
Oh yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
she was
Yeah. I know
amazing. I
they've
was
got
just
some
like,
very talented people out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure she got cast.
Yeah. Did So? Did you get your first film role out in Vegas, or was that in Cali?
That was in Cali. I did extra work in
Okay.
Vegas.
Gotcha. Okay. So your
Um,
first speaking role was in Cali.
yeah, I was still, yeah, my speaking role was in Vegas. I'm sorry, San Francisco.
Uh huh.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it was all extra work and I was still learning.
Yeah.
Like I still didn't understand fully how you got a job. I didn't have an agent in Vegas. It was
Mhm.
just me doing improv and weird auditions
Mhm.
that I'm not suited for.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And yeah, yeah, it's pretty much like I don't even think I knew about Backstage West until I got to
Mhm.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then I was really focused on making money too. So I was doing that little, I took vocal, actually, I took voice lessons after the embarrassing,
Yeah.
the embarrassing audition. But yeah, I was in San Francisco. I just saved a lot of money in Vegas, did some bartending, some improv here and there, and then went to San Francisco.
Uh huh. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
then was like balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what my first speaking role was. I got two Taft Hartleys in San Francisco,
Uh huh.
but I don't even remember what they were for.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. No.
Yeah. That is a little weird. I feel like that's something I would
Yeah,
think
then I can
about.
remember the audition, but I can't remember
Yeah.
what got me like closer to SAG. I have no idea. One, I don't remember what it was. I really don't. Check IBMBD. Ooh, you froze. You're back.
Uh oh. Yeah. It cut. It. Whoops. I don't know what happened, but
It's probably that PC.
yeah, probably. Uh, so what got you into comedy? Why are you particularly passionate about comedy?
I'm passionate about comedy because, so I thought about, so full disclosure, Ben gives you all the questions ahead of time so you can think about it. Okay. So I thought about this and I was like, God, I don't know. So I actually thought about this one for a very, very long time.
Uh,
And it's deep. So it was like, so like I said, I have ADHD. I had ADHD all through school and I have always used comedy. I was never the prettiest. I was never the most intelligent. I was never the most athletic. but I found my niche in, which is a common story you hear among people who go into comedy. That was how they got in. I remember in sixth grade, I was drawing cartoons instead of paying attention in class, of course, because ADHD, and I would do all these comedic cartoons. And it had gotten to the point where people were like, Michelle, hey, I like Jim. Can you do one about me and Jim? And so, oh, okay, I shouldn't have been charging for it, really. In reality, I said, all right, that's what I should have done. And that was kind of my way in, my way to be normal and be part of the cool kids and whatnot was I was funny,
Yeah.
you know? And it was a lot of time, it was the self-deprecating humor, like in class. I was just constant. I was down in the principal's office more often than I was in class. And it was never for being a bad kid. It was just for being disruptive and making the kids laugh by making comments when called upon and whatnot. Um, nonstop. I remember the principal being like, Michelle, would you quit? I don't want to see you in my office again. Okay. I do not want to see you in my office again. And I said, well, Mr. Donnelly, quit calling me down. And then he started laughing and he's like, damn it, get out of here.
Yeah.
So that was and honestly, that was my way to get by. I always kind of scooted by because I was likable. I was funny. Who doesn't like funny?
Right. Yeah.
And honestly, there is nothing more amazing than being in front of people, talking in a group, and everybody's laughing at what you're saying. It's a power.
Mhm.
It's an absolute power. It's a superpower.
Oh yeah.
And no, I've never done stand-up comedy because that makes me want to shit my pants. That is the scariest fucking thing on the planet if you were going to ask.
That is, yeah, that's something that I don't think I could ever do either.
It's like my last acting teacher had a great acting coach in San Francisco, and he's like, "You need to do stand up," and I was like, "You can suck it. No,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it." And he's like, "What's no? You have to." And I'm like, "No, I don't." And and I used to do auto shows, and I remember this girl who was in New York. That was one of my other ways to make money. She was like, "You need to do stand up. You want to get into the business, you need to do stand up." And I was like, "There is nothing more scary to me than that because you're not hiding behind a character, and it's really
Yeah.
stupid." Because in reality, you could just create a character on stage. But then that's not what makes stand up comedy funny. The stand up comedy is your reality. That's what's funny.
Yeah.
And if nobody laughs at me, I got nothing. So if
Yeah.
it turns out they really don't like you, it's like, oh shit, I'll just die now.
Yeah. I guess the biggest thing with me is I'm not fast. I'm not quick on my feet like that. I need a
Well, see,
lot
with
of time
stand
to
up,
write
you don't need to
jokes.
be fit. Well, that's what you do in stand up comedy. Stand up comedians aren't up there riffing. Some of them are.
Yeah,
Now,
I
there's a few.
guess. I
They're
guess unless
they're
people
doing the
are
same.
heckling, yeah.
Yeah, that, but you can just even blow them off. You don't even have to acknowledge them. But if you track, for a while, I was tracking comedians
Yeah.
and, like old, because now you can track them back to like, their college days and whatnot. And a lot of them, you can see them perfecting the same routine, seeing
Yeah.
what works and whatnot. And then they're on their Netflix special, but they've been working on the same shit for 5 years, getting it
Oh
right,
yeah.
getting the timing right. So it's not riffing and being quick on your feet.
Yeah, I
It's
guess yeah.
preparation and hard work.
Yeah, that is kind of dumb that I thought that now that I think about it. Yeah, it definitely is got to be well rehearsed.
Yeah, but it's like terrifying. I had a friend when we were in New York. He was a comedian. He just passed. Oh, rest his soul,
Oh,
RIP.
sorry.
Hilarious guy. Hilarious. And he had the same fear. One of the reasons he didn't make it as a comedian was he took his time perfecting that one set, the perfect 10 minutes, and you would wet yourself. But even his agents were like, you need more material. And he wasn't confident enough. He's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to top that. And he wasn't brave enough. He was too fearful to even try. But I remember the first time I watched him perform in New York, they let him just go on up. That happens all the time if they know who you are. And I was so nervous that he wasn't going to be funny, that people weren't going to laugh at him, that people were like, my friend looks at me and she's like, are you going up there? What the fuck is your problem? And I'm like, it's going to be funny. If he doesn't laugh, we're going to have to buy him dinner. It's expensive here. And I'm like, and I was just, and I was like, oh my God, he was hilarious. He killed it. That should have been my motivation to try it, honestly. Because what if you do kill it? What a shitty life. It's like you got to suck it up. But I never did. There's still time. There's still time. There's still time.
So, thinking about your comedic roles, this wasn't a question I threw you ahead of time, and you pissed me off
Oh,
by
great.
throwing my dirty laundry out there. But when did the sex movie come out? When did this all come in? I see this on your IMDb page. It's the highlight, but I
Yeah.
can't find the movie anywhere. I saw the trailer.
Oh,
It looks like
really?
something I would enjoy. Yeah.
That was a great movie. So I originally auditioned for that and didn't get it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't get it. And that was a great talk about like being able to remember a weird audition. I forgot about that movie, and that was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I didn't get it originally, and then the girl who did get it, her agent said it was too racy
Oh,
for, and it really
dumbass.
wasn't. Yeah, it really wasn't. But maybe she was a commercial actor. There's who knows, whatever.
Yeah.
So I had gotten it, and I came to the first read through with the group, and I made it funny. And the director took me aside after we had finished the movie, and I guess the other girl wasn't doing it, and he had not written it that way. And it went on to a lot of festivals. They flew me to Dallas, and somewhere else, I don't remember, to, talk about the movie because it did really, really well. And he was like, "You saved my movie." It was missing the humor, the comedic appeal. And him and I had an amazing relationship forever, and we worked together. Um, Afterwards, nothing big after like ever came up, but he was like, "You made the movie just with your comedic timing and the humor that I didn't see in it. It would have been way too serious." But that was a great experience. That was a great experience and something where I love about film. When you work on something for an extended period of time, it's like I still keep in touch with these people. I still
Yeah,
follow
that's
them on
awesome.
Instagram. And
I love that.
it's like, yeah, it's just like, it's like like we don't talk every day and stuff, but if I see them on Instagram and they're doing something amazing, it's like, oh my God, so great to see Elise doing that. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, Maddie had a baby with his husband. Oh, that's amazing. And it's like you have this deep connection that is just amazing for work, just worth working with somebody on like some deep content and like growing together as actors. And even if it was, I think we shot it for 3 weeks. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a good experience. Said known for that. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's
That
known
is
for
the
the
highlight on
sex
IMDb.
movie.
Yeah.
It is not, no, it is not porn.
Yeah.
I remember we went to see it, and they showed it in San Francisco at the theater there for one of the film festivals, and all my friends were there. And it's like it's about the dialogue. It's a heavy dialogue movie, about like sex and
Yeah.
different genders and
Sounds right
whatnot.
up my alley. Yeah.
And we left, and my one friend Sylvia had said something really introspective and deep, whatever. And then my one friend Dom goes, "We saw Michelle."
Oh,
It's
nice.
like, and I was like,
Now I really want to watch this
yeah,
movie.
I was just like, really, guys, you've seen it before, yeah, but not that big, I was like, oh, guys, men, you guys are a trip, but it was funny. It was a trip. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
You're like, ah, really? What? Yeah, for a while it was on that one. My cousin goes, yeah, you're on that one website. See, it's so and so's boob. I'm like, yeah.
That's an actual website.
Yeah, I was. I don't know if it still exists, but like,
Oh,
yeah.
that was the thing from Knocked Up, wasn't it? Like Jonah Hill or
I,
something. Like they were like
I
doing a
don't.
website where you could
Maybe, and then maybe I really did it, but yeah, there was a website where you can see like what actors, and I was on there for a while, and I'm like, oh, I have made it.
Yeah, I think this segues well into the next question about what makes a comedic performance pop, what makes it shine. You see these movies, and there are some actors that just have it, like Vince
Yeah,
Vaughn, Leslie Mann, Paul Rudd. Like they have it; they'll be able to
yeah,
make anything funny. And then sometimes there's a comedy, and it like something's missing. You can't put your
yeah.
finger on it.
I mean, I think it's a lot of things, and it's hard to say when you're watching a movie. You don't know what's going on set. You don't,
Right.
but I think what I think it is just honesty, not trying too hard. The comedy's there. You don't have to show it,
Yeah.
and so much of comedy, I think, is derived from pain.
Mhm.
It's a way, to deal with the pain. And if you can capture that, like I think we spoke before, there's a scene with Diane Keaton and she's crying because her and Jack Nicholson, I can't remember the name of the movie, they broke up, and they're not together anymore. And she's crying and she's in so much pain. And it is the funniest shit you've ever seen. It's so real. You're crying so hard that you're laughing and you're just like, And it's so funny because it's the pain, it's the honesty, it's the truth of it, which is funny. I mean, even slapstick. If you don't you crack your head into the cupboard, the pain of the cup, the fuck. That's what's funny. It's
Yeah.
not the being dramatic and doing that.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what I think is so many times people try to go for the funny so hard, and that
Yeah.
makes it not funny.
I think that that's the biggest issue I see in audition tapes is like, yeah, like performing and
Yeah.
here's the joke instead of,
Like if you
yeah,
find the humanity and the truth and what's really going on, it'll be so much more fun. Like I was thinking about because you have like your favorite comedic movies. Spoiler alert, one of them is Anchorman. And I was thinking about that. Like even the part where he's like going scotch, scotch, scotch. I love the scotch.
yeah,
It's really subtle. And he's
yeah,
just really in his own world. Like he could be like being like an ass about it, and that's not
yeah,
funny. But just him being like, God, I mean, the reality is he really loves that scotch. I mean, he
yeah,
loves it. There's love there, and it's funny as fuck because of
yeah.
that.
No, that's a good one. I guess this is a less grounded scene, but when they go to the bar or restaurant or whatever it is, and he plays the flute, that
Yeah,
that gets
yeah,
me.
yeah. He's playing the flute. He's probably like, oh, serenade. Who knows what's going on in that man's head? But
Yeah,
it's like it's not. I mean, there's ways he could be big about it, and then like there's people like Chris Farley who went big and it worked.
yeah,
But that was his persona. Was big, and he still
yeah,
made it work being big like that.
for sure. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. That's another one, Tommy Boy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's something that I've definitely noticed, and the more I learn about what these words are and what they actually mean, because I'm not the most technical filmmaker, is I really like small performances. There definitely are
Mm-hmm.
times for big ones, for
Mm-hmm.
big characters, but I really like super grounded in reality small performances, like as if we're watching real life.
Yeah.
That's my favorite kind.
Yeah, and a lot of theater actors. I did a lot of theater, so it was hard for me to like come get small and not have to show so much,
Yeah.
for film. But then I think that even doing film, when I transitioned to doing more film in California, I think that made me a better theater actor as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're really telling the story, so you don't have to be so big all the time. So it's the
Mhm.
subtleties sometimes that, or else, that when it's too theatrical, sometimes, I mean, obviously musical theaters differently, but even, just like I did a sketch show at Planet Ant,
Mhm.
and I did a lot of small, subtle things when I'm not in the show. And I had somebody come up to me and go, "Oh, that was so funny when I saw you like cleaning your gun in the background." And that was just something small that I was doing that I didn't even think anybody noticed.
Mhm.
It was just something to keep me grounded, like you said, keep me grounded in the mood. And I was like, even that kind, it even matters in theater, you know?
Yeah.
But that's something I probably would never have done in the past had I not done film and been in, what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, oh,
That's
he's kind of more
interesting.
engaged.
Yeah. Yeah, and is that because on film, like you never know when you're going to be actually in, like even if you're not
Yeah.
speaking, is that why? Because I know that
I
there's a
don't, I
lot in
don't
the
know what
acting
it
world when,
is. Yeah. I
yeah,
don't know what it is. And I think maybe that is what it is because in theater, a lot of times, like lights aren't even on you. People can't even, sometimes people can't even see you. So you're just
yeah,
kind of like, oh, you're just kind of like, hey, and you're also very concerned about taking, some attention away from what people should be paying attention to because it's important.
yeah,
Um, like that would be ingrained in my head, but it's not that serious. People can pay attention to more, especially in today's day and age. You can pay attention to a lot of things. So it might have been a more of a film thing. It might just be more training that I've had over the years. I don't know what it is. But I remember that somebody saying that to me and I was like, oh, people, it does matter, the subtle things on theater as well, in theater as well. Yeah.
yeah. So I know you have a ton of experience on screen and on stage. Curious about some of the biggest lessons you've learned throughout your journey
In terms of like just in acting as,
in terms of acting or just
you froze.
professionally
Okay.
maneuvering the industry.
Oh, God. It's a lot more business than it is talent. It's a lot more who, not, I don't want to say who you know, but there's like a whole, you can have all the talent in the goddamn world. If you're not networking, knowing who's doing what, and really saturating your brain with everything going on in the industry, nobody's going to fucking know. If you don't have the red headshots, you're never going to get in the room. It's a lot more of all the shit I don't like. It really is. In terms of acting, what I've learned over the years is the more you give to someone else and not make it about you, the more rewarding it is and the better the performance is. As opposed to when I first started out, I was like, oh, here comes my line. I got to do this. Oh, let me do this. And oh, let me do this. It's not about you. It's not about you. It is not about you. Stop it. Get out of your head, you egotistical actor. It's about the other person and giving and the relationship and listening. And that made me a better actor when I finally stopped doing that.
Yeah, could you
Getting out of my
elaborate a bit more on exactly what you mean by giving?
giving. So it's like when the other actor, when you're in a scene with somebody,
Mhm.
you'll used to be like, oh, here comes my scene. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. If you sometimes if I'm like not understanding a scene, like I'm in class, I'm not understanding a scene, it's like, how can I make this person better? They want to be angry. Well, let me see how I can make them angry.
Uh-huh.
They're supposed to be angry in this scene. What can I do to make them angry? As opposed to, how am I going to react to them being angry? No, no, no.
Right.
How am I going to make them angry? Like in that regards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of
Because
sense.
it's easy to get, into your own self and what am I going to do and my performance like that. But because you want to do a good job and, everybody does a better job if you're doing a good job. But I
Yeah,
feel like if you
exactly.
get out of your head of doing that, and focus on the other person and what, how you should be making them feel and what you want from them, hey, it's more fun,
Mhm.
you know, and, it makes you better. It makes them better. It makes everybody better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of acting is reacting,
And it
and
takes a lot of stress off you
mhm.
because now it's not about you. Who cares about you? It's about
Yeah,
them. This sucks. It's up. Well, that was your fault.
yeah, yeah. I can definitely see giving the other actors something to work with, something
Hmm.
better to play off of. That's definitely going to be invaluable. I
And
mean,
if it's reciprocated, if they're listening and it's reciprocated, then you're doing your job better. And now you got a good ass scene.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And on the network business side of things, so you'd say the industry as a whole is just super political, I'm assuming is what you're getting at.
No, I mean, there, I'm sure, yes, of course, it's political. I mean, nepotism, obviously.
Mhm.
Money, you need a lot of money,
Yeah.
to eat, to do anything. And it's like when my stepdad was an actor.
Hmm.
He, you'd never know him. He was pretty much a featured extra his entire career. And it's so complicated because back then, and he made enough money. He bought his mom a house in Detroit. He lived very, very well. He talks about cocaine and sugar bowls. He had a good life. It was the 80s. And he did, and that was just, what the fuck was the name of that show he was on? Knots Landing. He was like a featured extra on that show. It was like, that's how, he did some commercials. Well, and he made a lot of money. Those days are kind of gone. There's a lot more streaming. There's a lot more opportunity out there, but the money isn't as good as it used to be. And so is this your question? Am I tangenting? Am I going off on a tangent?
No,
I have a
no,
bug right there.
keep
Okay.
going.
So it's like, so the industry is like, it's a difficult, okay. So like when I started acting,
Mhm.
there was this mentality of you don't have, a backup plan. There is no backup plan. You're an actor or you're not, or you're never going to make it. And to that narrative, that was gospel. Okay, that's it. That's it. And then I got to a point where I was like, well, this is not sustainable. I live in San Francisco. This is hard. And I kind of fell off for a while and then came back to it because I'm like, this shit is what makes me happy. This is what I'm going to do. And people are now coming to realize that's not true. Those days are gone. It's not, you can't live like that. So it's like, you need to have, you can be an actor. Just to be a working actor doesn't mean that's all you do. You can have outlets for making money.
Yeah.
Things that you enjoy. You don't have to you don't have to be a barista unless that's what you want to do. You want to be a barista, cool. But you don't have to be a barista the rest of your life. There's other avenues you can pursue while still being an actor because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right.
And you can't do that grind and that hustle because it's expensive. You need to have updated headshots. I don't even have updated headshots right now. I think the one I sent you, I don't look like that anymore. They're like 5 years old. I got bangs. And I'm like, what the? And I'm slacking. Let me tell you, I am slacking. You have to take classes. You have to keep your everything tuned. You have to keep working. You got to keep it fresh. You got to, if you're in LA or New York, you have to, meet casting directors. You have to build relationships. All that stuff doesn't happen overnight. You have to have decent setup for your self tapes. It got a little crazy over the pandemic how everybody was acting. People were like, you got to have a full flight when it first started because everything's self tape now. The beauty of the industry. Let's talk about something good of the industry.
Yeah.
You can work from anywhere now. You can do a self tape. If you can be in Chicago, you can do your self tape here, and they're like, okay, we'll call back for a callback. Then you jet over to Chicago or Atlanta. That's a beautiful thing that changed. But you got to have the self-tape set up. You got to learn how to do the self-tape. You got to learn how to edit. You have to have the program. And there's a lot of money and time invested in it. And this doesn't happen overnight. So it's like to say that you're either an actor or you're not is insane to me. You have to have it. So it's like, I always somebody was asking me, what would you do differently? I'm like, well, nothing. But what advice would I give to an actor now? If there's something else you like to do, say you like graphic design. Say you like economics. I would never meet an actor who likes economics. That would never happen. Say you like graphic design. Okay, well, you're not an actor. Well, do that. Go to school, do that. Because you're doing that does not mean you're not an actor.
Yeah.
You can still be pursuing actor on the side. You're still doing it, not even on the side. You're still an actor. But now you can have your independent little graphic design business, something else that you enjoy, while you're pursuing acting. Because you know what? Acting's a lot of auditioning. I have working actor friends in LA. They audition 3 or 4 times a month. Well, what are you doing the rest of the time? Well, they're bartending or waitressing. Well, they could be doing their graphic design or something that they like. And a successful acting career could be like 3 independent films, 2 national commercials. Well, how long does that take in the whole year? Now that's a good ass career.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of time to fill. And just sitting there going, oh, doing acting, let me obsess over the trades, blah, blah, blah. Hey, that doesn't make an interesting actor anyways. Usually. So I think that's something that people don't know. A lot of people, new actors, don't know about the business. Is that there's a lot of downtime. If you fully immerse yourself in just acting and only acting, you'll probably go crazy.
Yeah.
You have to have other interests, and passive income is key to longevity.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting because I'm thinking about even even like a big name actor that
Yeah.
does maybe one movie a year is a lot. So we'll say they do one
Yeah.
every other year, one every 3 years, and say they're on set for 100 days for that. What are you doing the other 1,000 days in between your next role?
Yeah.
You are making millions of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them have side businesses. A lot of them have beauty. A lot of them have real estate. There's other things they're doing. A lot of them are producers. They're producing other stuff,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of time. And I think, like I said, that narrative of you're an actor, you're either acting and only acting and living in your car, dying for your art, or you're not.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you ain't got to do all
Yeah, right.
And I think most actors too have a bazillion interests. I'm sure, it's like photography. I like this. I have a lot of friends who are actors and they do a commercial a year or something like that. And then they, do photography on the side, do headshots, weddings, stuff like that. And they live a very fulfilled life.
Yeah.
And they're actors. They're working actors. Yes, they have other things, but they're still working actors.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, especially if you can just live a full creative professional life.
Yeah.
I mean, if aside from acting, if you're also, that's really cool that you're if they're doing photography as well.
My acting teacher in San Francisco, he would say that all the time. If you're only doing acting and not focusing, go live life. That is not with acting. How are you going to tell stories about other things when all you do is this and focus on this? You become very boring and very, it's like you got to live life and experience life and do other things.
Yeah, that a funny thought just came to my mind as well about all this is if that's all you're doing. Granted, I haven't done much acting. I've been in both of my movies, very small roles, but like I'm not like an actor. A big part of acting, isn't it, taking your experience of life and all of the other people
Yeah,
you've met and being
yeah,
able to share that on screen?
yeah, yeah,
And to me, it seems like if you're not going out and doing things, it's going to also hurt you professionally.
yeah, for sure. And especially if you're like you're only around other actors doing the same thing, you get tunnel vision. It's like,
Mhm.
and you become and like my old acting teacher said, you're not as interesting.
Yeah.
You're not as interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I found that even with writing, it's very helpful to get around a wide array of people and listen to other people talk and
Hmm.
see how people who are very different from me interact with the world and people in the world around them. Um, Especially when I'm like looking to start brainstorming a new idea. I definitely hit jackpot a few times by just meeting some crazy people just by chance and saying, oh
Yeah,
yeah, if I didn't go out here today, I might have not found inspiration
right.
for a character.
Yep.
And yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
It's a tough business though. It is tough, tough, tough. It's a grind, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And that's something that I've learned. It doesn't have to be. I didn't
Yeah.
have to, getting experience is one thing, but and plus I think a lot of people, like me especially, I'm like instant gratification. If it's not happening now, it's not happening. And I've chilled on that a lot. It's like, I always told them, I've been telling everybody since I was 20, since I first started acting, I am going to blow the fuck up at 50. So so if it happens, I'm psychic and I will quit acting and start, um, so we'll see. We got 3 years.
Oh, really? I would
um,
have guessed 20.
oh, sorry.
Sorry, the
So,
camera, with the camera quality right now, everything hasn't rendered, so I really can't see what
what,
color your hair is. So,
and with the 7 filters I have on
yeah.
and my ginormous glasses, yeah. So, but it's like I said, nothing. It's probably not getting you. So you have to really, really love it what you're doing
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I
because,
think it goes without saying that you need to be passionate about the craft. This can't be something where you're
mm-mm,
looking to make money. Well, because A, it's just there's just so many better ways to make money,
yes,
and B, I can't imagine you're not going to hate your life if you're
yeah,
doing this to
it's
if this isn't out of love and passion.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, and it's that people, I think people forget too, like when they think, a lot of people they come across, when they're when they're wanting to become an actors, they're thinking of the one percenters. And it's like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
There's a whole world of actors out there. You might be sitting next to one on the street and, that's got a very successful career that you don't know. And more than likely, and if you can get to that, you are a lucky one, you are a lucky one. Oh, and then another advice. Okay, this is one that they can put to use now. There's an awesome podcast called Audrey Helps Actors. Listen to that. That will give you some real insight into the business side of it. The girl knows her shit. She's been on some really good shows. She was on Godless. She was a series regular on that. But if you start from the beginning, you can even see as she climbs up in her acting career, uh, so do her guest and whatnot. But the song, the tagline is Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything. And she's like, and it's like, that was the most informative thing of giving me some insight into what you actually have to do
Yeah.
and, what is involved and the money that is needed.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that would be super helpful. That sounds like a great podcast. I mean,
Yeah,
just
it's
soaking up
so
any
helpful.
information you can is going to be
Hmm.
invaluable, especially if you're listening to people who have walked the walk. I mean, there's
Hmm.
one that I listen to quite frequently for independent film writer, director, producers called the Indie Film Hustle podcast. Like he has on various people throughout the industry who write, direct, produce, occasionally actors as well,
Hmm.
and other crew members. And yeah, I mean, really just soaking up that information and hearing about what other people have done wrong, what they've done right, what's led to success, what's led to failure, and all of that. Yeah, I mean that's exactly the kind of thing
Yeah.
you want to be listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then we touched on this one a little bit, but is there anything else that you want to say about giving advice to an actor looking to transition into comedy? I know that we discussed not going big and going huge.
Big.
This is the
Yeah.
joke here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely resonate with that one quite a bit. Was there any
Honestly,
other
I
pieces of
think it's the
advice?
same rules. It's the same rules from drama to comedy.
Yeah,
I really think it's the
it's
same
what I hear a
rules,
lot of
you
people
know?
say. Yeah,
Yeah, just listen, listen. Listen to what the other person's saying.
yeah,
That's all you gotta do. It's like, and don't make it about you, even if you are the funny one in the story. Yeah. In fact, if you are the funny one in the story, bring it down. It'll be funnier.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the. I think the two most common things I hear are A, take it looser, and B, remember that the characters in the story don't find this funny.
Mm-mm.
And a lot of the humor comes from this being reality for them, and
Yeah,
that what is going on is not actually
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Human beings, that's all we do is laugh at other people's suffering. You see somebody trip on a cone in the middle of the street, you're gonna crack your ass up. That sucks for that dude. It
Yeah,
sucks. But we love other people's suffering and pain.
yeah,
It's hilarious. So suffer.
yeah. So yeah, transitioning into the questions I ask all my guests, if there's one writer and or director that you could work with, so you can name two, who would it be?
So this is hard.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I was like, okay, so I overthought this. So I was like, well, I could, so I was like, oh, of course I want to work with Judd Apatow. Of course I want to work, and then I was thinking, I was like, oh, Quentin Tarantino. I hear he's kind of an asshole. But then I was thinking about in the, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yeah,
like that scene
that's
with
my favorite.
Leo, yeah, that Leonardo DiCaprio where he's in his trailer flipping out, you know?
Yeah,
Did you hear the story about that? Like,
that was all improv, wasn't it?
yeah, but he told him like the day before. It's like,
Yeah,
listen, this or the day of, yo, you're gonna go do this, and Leo McHart was like, what?
yeah,
I think that shit's fun.
yeah,
What? What? Yo, what? I have no time to prepare. That's when I'm my best.
yeah,
You know? This is amazing. But then I was thinking, I was like, the reality is, I don't really know what any of these people are really like.
yeah,
It could suck. So I was like, so my answers would be, I would just hope to work with a director who is open, encourages play, creates a really relaxed set
yeah,
for everybody, isn't so focused on time, and that's what I would hope for. Because it's like there's a million directors I think I would want to work with, but then I'm like, I don't really know what they're really, just because, I like the movie or the content they put out or the stories I've heard. I really don't know. I don't know. So that's just what I would hope for. And then
yeah.
who's the guy who does everything in one take? He just one take only. What's his name?
Eastwood?
That sounds fucking awesome. Yeah. That sounds awesome too.
Yeah,
But then it's like, well, oh, I don't know, maybe. But now there might be too much pressure. Is he a dick about it? One, two, you know how he
yeah,
talks. It's like I don't know. So I was like, so I don't think I would actually. Wouldn't want to almost not put it out in the universe that I want to work with this person because if it's disappointing, my little heart just can't handle any more
yeah. No,
disappointment
I
in
get
this
that.
life. So just like somebody who's just open to play and improv and, you know, cool with you contributing some ideas and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to both of those guys talk for probably at least 20 hours each, and I would say Apatow's probably a much better fit for what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard Tarantino's kind of a dick, especially to some of the women. But then I was like, ooh, but do I? Sometimes I got daddy issues. I might like that dickness. And then some people, it's like, yeah. So that was like, I was like, I don't know. I don't want to say.
Yeah,
I would just hope for, yeah. And scene.
yeah. What about Todd Phillips?
I don't even know.
Do you know who
I
that
haven't really
is?
heard. Uh-uh.
He most recently made the two Joker movies, but before
Oh,
that,
okay.
he made well, those were his serious movies. He also made Road
Mm-hmm.
Trip, Old School,
Okay.
Starsky and Hutch, the three Hangover movies.
Yeah. It's like you don't
Not
know. It's like,
resonating with you?
no, I like all the, no, those movies are all great, but I don't know anything about him. I don't know what
Gotcha.
the set was like. I don't know. And the same with the actor question. Like I was like, okay,
Yeah,
duh.
that is the next
Of course
question.
I want to work with Tina Fey and Kristen Wiig. Duh, Maya
Oh,
Rudolph.
really?
Duh.
Okay,
That's why.
that is not who I thought you would have said.
Who do you thought I would say?
I thought you would
Paul
have said
Rudd. Yeah.
no, Leslie Mann.
Oh, and Leslie Mann. Duh.
Yeah.
That's well. I kind of included her with Judd Apatow, like everybody does.
Oh,
What an
fair enough.
asshole, Michelle. God, she's her own talented, beautiful person.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know what they're like on set. I would think they're amazing, but you never
Yeah. I
know.
mean,
You never
you
know.
said Tina Fey, Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, Maya Rudolph.
They seem fine. Yeah.
They all seem like they're fun and they play and they're from SNL, so you would think they would do the improv and be goofy on set.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And you just can't tell. So like in that regard, I would just want to work with, I was thinking about this girl I worked with in class,
Mhm.
in San Francisco. And she not surprisingly is a series regular on a show now. I'm not surprised. So when we were like rehearsing our scene and doing our scene, there was like what I was talking about, there was so much giving and so much improv and just a relaxed environment and so much room for play. And you felt so safe to just experiment and try things.
Yeah.
And when we finally did our scene, we got a standing ovation. I don't know if we got a standing ovation, but it was really good. Like I was like, it was fantastic. And it was like, you didn't even realize what you were doing. You were just in it in the moment. And like when you have your first kiss when you're a kid and everything, when you're 6, no, I'm just kidding. When you have your first, like however old you are, 14, whatever, and everything else just goes dark and you don't know anything else in the world. Just everything, nothing else matters. It's just you and hopefully your boyfriend and not your uncle. I'm just kidding. That
Yeah.
was
Oh
dirty
God. Yeah.
jokes.
Yeah.
Like, everything, nothing else matters. You're in a time warp.
Mhm.
That's what I would hope with acting. When you get in with that with an actor, it's a time warp. Nothing else is around you. Everything's dark. It's just your own world you've
Yeah.
created.
Oh yeah.
And I don't give a fuck who that actor is. I don't care if it's Tina Fey or the homeless guy on the corner. That's who I want to work with.
Okay. All right. All right. And then your top 5 comedy movies of all time.
Okay, so I already said Anchorman.
Mhm.
And what's the other one I said?
Tommy Boy.
I already spoiled Tommy. Movie. Anchorman, I don't know what it is about that movie. That movie is just, it's so stupid. I just crack up at it. And then I was thinking, I forgot about Airplane.
Yeah.
Let me
that's
tell
the
you.
other one.
That slapstick, absurd, I will wet my pants every time. Actually forgot about it. I'm going to watch it on Sunday. And then, okay, so I got Anchorman, Tommy Boy. Something about Mary kills me.
Okay.
Something about Mary kills me. That movie is so funny. And I hate to say Naked Gun. I swear.
Okay.
Those
So
movies.
you
I remember
really
watching.
like David Zucker then.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember watching that movie on repeat with my Uncle Joe and never stopped laughing to the point where my Aunt Sue was like, "If you watch this movie one more fucking time, I'm divorcing you and disowning you." And we would just cry. And it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's actually intelligent. It's really intelligent.
Yeah.
It's like it's just so out of the box. Yeah, those are them.
Good list. I don't think
Think so?
I don't think any of those. Yeah, no, none of all 5 of those are original. None of them have been said on the podcast yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody says Wedding Crashers.
No, no one has said Wedding
What?
Crashers, and that pisses me off because that's my favorite movie of all time.
It's a lot of people's favorite movie of all time.
So
Love that movie, but
dude.
it's not my.
Oh my God, Vince Vaughn.
What's a common one that people say?
My second favorite one, Superbad. That one's been said a few times.
Okay.
The Hangover gets said a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's the other guy.
And I feel like those are the two ones that have been repeated multiple
Okay.
times.
Nobody said airplane?
Nobody
So
said Airplane
ridiculous.
though.
God, it's so ridiculous.
That
And
part's funny.
what we said before, everybody's playing it straight. Nobody's
Yeah,
playing the jokes. Nope, you can't play this. That would just be annoying. But oh, I can't wait to watch that. I'm gonna wet myself.
that's a really
I'm
fun
literally just gonna put a diaper on and
one.
just watch it and just let myself pee.
I know you're going to disappoint me, but I'm going to ask anyways.
I
You
love
haven't
disappointing
seen
people.
you haven't seen Blockers or The
No, I
Changeover,
still
have you?
haven't. No,
No.
I'm so big. It's on my phone. It's on my list. It's I've been so busy.
Oh, okay.
I haven't even been. I just started being able to even watch like an hour of TV a day.
Uh huh.
Like I watched new show Acapulco on Apple TV.
I don't watch TV.
It's such a good show. Yeah, I just finally got because I don't even have enough time to watch a movie. It feels like so I can watch like 30-minute episodes of shows. But it's winter now. It's time to hibernate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to catch up on all my movies, starting with Airplane and then Blockers.
Okay.
It's on my list. It's on my list.
Is The Change Up on there?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. From my first time I think it was the first time we spoke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's been a lot of fun speaking with you, Michelle. This was
Thank
quite the
you.
podcast. Lots of good energy.